you so much for coming. We're so excited about this presentation and production. This is a play, original play that was written by our tutor, Elizabeth Ogunloye, who is also, by the way, the president of the Tutors Alliance Club, and a mentor in the Writing Center. And obviously she is very talented. She has won a variety of the writing contests that we hold at the Writing Center. And she loves writing short stories and plays. So she produced this last fall in the Writing Center in response to the writing contest that was titled The American Dream. And so she wrote this wonderful play, Two Sides of a Coin, and it was presented in the Writing Center in the fall. And I thought it was such a wonderful story that I told her she should go on and do it again and you know, get a wider audience to come and see it. So thank you so much for coming. We are right now just trying to iron out some technical glitches, of course, that always have to come up. Can be predicted. So as soon as they get worked out, the play will start. So, or the afternoon will start. Thank you very much.
Sorry for the delay, but we're about to start now, and we're going to be starting with the short story. So this short story is about imitating life. It was written by one of our tutors at Writing Center, James, and he's also an adjunct professor. So just, he's going to be here. Thank you very much.
Hey everybody. I can't really see your faces, but because the light is so bright, but hopefully you can all see me very well. My name is James. My last name is Noguera, and or Noguera for the English speakers. I'm a writer. I have an MFA, and I want to. That's a Master in Fine Arts. Officially, unofficially, it is a motherfucking artist. And so I stole that joke, totally stole that joke from Marcos de Jesus, fellow coworker at the Writing Center. I also teach composition at the college. Hopefully there are one or two students in the audience. So this story I published a few years ago, and it reflects on my life. And it starts with me as I'm about 10 years old when it begins. And it's called Imitating Life. By the way, this is an excerpt. It's not the whole story. It will feel a little bit incomplete by the end, but you will get a sense of the story. Imitating life. I can hear the other children in the park below, the same as yesterday, as the day before, shouting, playing, having fun. The sounds are always there, always the same, and I am always here, the same, to hear them. I listen every day trying to understand the sounds, but I know I can't. I don't make them. I'm alone in a small room in a small apartment surrounded mostly by off-white walls. Maybe they're actually white, I can never tell. There are other things, a TV, a bed, a Super Nintendo, game cartridges, a VCR, and a small collection of VHS tapes. In the living room is where Dad's books are. There are a lot of books, encyclopedias, biographies, textbooks, novels. Dad doesn't seem to have any preference. Many of them have pictures which I really like. Abraham Lincoln, the Earth, a volcano. Most are old, some torn. I wonder where he gets them. Dad is in the kitchen, as usual, watching the small TV set he has there, probably drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette. Mom is out, probably working. My sister's in the other room, also watching TV. I don't have any friends, and the other things in my room don't always work, so I go to the living room and pick up one of those books and sit down. I do this every day during the summer, trading one book for another, searching for something. But I can hear them in the park below. There are no other sounds when I read, nothing except the inevitable turning of a page. I've always felt different. It was just physical at first, having a separate body, my own brain, but it developed into something more. I began life by speaking the wrong language, Spanish, when everyone else except Mom and Dad spoke English. Mom came here to America in a plane in her 20s from half an island called the Dominican Republic. She met Dad, a poor Puerto Rican with 4 kids by 2 women, and married him. To Mom's credit, though, she did try to leave Dad once. She went to DR with my sister and me without telling him. He was pretty upset. He wrecked Aunt's house, where we were living in Washington Heights, in a drunken rage, we later found out. Good thing Mom had found a new place to live. We left Manhattan for the Bronx when I was 8, which was a good move because it took a while for Dad to find us. Then one night he came knocking on the door. Mom didn't look through the peephole. I was right next to her when she opened. She spoke with him with the door ajar. His foot was in the crack. I thought maybe he had a gun or a knife. Maybe he did. Luckily, though, Mom let him in and we became a family again. Dad wasn't so good at being a dad. I wouldn't have minded it so much if he didn't make it his mission to make my life worse. He never let a day go by without verbally insulting me, and he'd beat me whenever he was angry with me. I don't know why he always had it out for me, but one good thing about him is he had a lot of books. Mom, on the other hand, raised my sister and me the best that she could. Unfortunately, the best that she could was the boogie-down Bronx. I grew up around poverty and crime, broken concrete and graffiti, blacks and Hispanics, rap and merengue. This made me realize 2 important things about myself growing up. 1, I was Hispanic. Why else did I speak Spanish? Why else was I living in the ghetto? Why else were my parents poor and foreign? And 2, I was not Hispanic. Why else was I so pale, my nose so long, and my hair so straight? Other kids looked at me and knew that I was different. I had no choice but to agree. Mom tried to provide me with a Dominican identity by taking me to DR every summer. But despite the trips, I never felt very Dominican. I felt more Dominican than Puerto Rican, yes. I'd never been to PR or met any of Dad's family. But I felt more American than Dominican. And I didn't feel very American at all, except when in DR. There, I couldn't help but feel like anything other than the fluent English-speaking, afraid of insects, afraid of the sun, non-donkey riding, non-swimming American I was. In DR, or the Bronx, I was always the stand-in for white people. I didn't even know what white people were really like. As far as I knew, all white people lived in the city. I only saw them on TV or in school as teachers, but I never knew them to exist outside in the real world. Did they just disappear once they had served their purpose? Going to public school in the Bronx didn't make things any easier. At PS 26, few kids would talk to me. I couldn't blame them. I was shy, or as far as anybody else knew, mute. I definitely didn't talk to any girls. I was talked to by girls occasionally, though often by mistake. My bully seemed to be the only one who would talk to me. I was, according to him, a rock and roll star. He would yank on my long locks as he teased me. In 3rd grade, I met Naeem, my first and best friend. We used to play Super Nintendo at my house every day after school, but at 12, he left to live with his mom in Africa since his parents were divorced. I had met a boy named Xavier in the 5th grade. Now, with Naeem gone, X and I became close. I had met a boy named Xavier in the, and now Naeem and I became close, X and I became close. We would talk on the phone for hours. Dad would get upset at my phone usage and call X my girlfriend. X was, much to my luck, fat and tall. Being one of the bigger kids, more than anything else, made him cool, which made me cool too, sort of. I just had to make sure the other kids saw us hanging out together. X introduced me to three things growing up that had a big impact on me: hockey, pro wrestling, and heavy metal. I have X to thank for much of my present-day manliness. I don't know what first got me hooked on hockey other than it was different. I would pretend to be Canadian so other people might understand the hobby. X and I would play or try to play in our rollerblades in the park near my house. Nobody knew what sport we were playing, and judging by the way that we played, neither did we. We even had a fake hockey team, the Bronx Icebergs, and made t-shirts. But nobody ever showed up to practice. I never seriously entertained the idea of becoming a hockey player. I just wanted to be Steve Yzerman, the captain of the Detroit Red Wings. Next came the glittering, bleeding world of professional wrestling. X was obsessed with pro wrestling, especially with the wrestling group the NWO, or the New World Order. So was the whole school. This was during pro wrestling's heyday in the mid-90s, before we all found out that it was fake. In school, you were either in the NWO or you were picked on. I knew X, who was in the NWO, so I guess I was in it too, but I got picked on anyway. I wouldn't let that deter me, though. Inside, I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler. Heavy metal, on the other hand, was an acquired taste. The screams of Sepultura didn't do it for me at first. I couldn't understand how X enjoyed that kind of noise. Then I heard Metallica, the marijuana of heavy metal. For the first time, Anne got addicted. There was no turning back, I knew. As far as most people in the Bronx were concerned, this was devil music. X only got away at school with liking heavy metal because of his size. I had to hide. Before I left PS26, the school became MS330. That meant 3 more years in the same school before having to go to high school and eventually growing up. 3 more years of the safety of having X as my friend. But come the 6th grade, X and I had different classes. I suppose it was inevitable. I did the best I could, which is to say I didn't talk to anyone. But in the 7th grade, but in the 8th grade, something unexpected happened. I made a new friend. He was a big-headed, big-eared, curly-haired Dominican kid named Uriah. And he started talking to me on the first day of class. The conversation felt, well, normal, like, you know, what's supposed to happen. I thought I had finally been accepted. However, he later told me that the only reason he started talking to me was because I was the only white kid in the class, which he thought was cool in a weird way. Anyway, Yuri and I chatted every day like we were going steady. Ironic, since neither one of us had touched a girl, except by accident or in ways appropriate with family. But Yuri wasn't like me. He had friends. That's how I came to know Angel, another Dominican kid. Yuri and Angel had met while taking bilingual ed together. That's how it was with the bilingual kids. They all seemed to know each other like some big foreign clique. And they would break out into Spanish for no reason in the middle of conversation, always sounding so damn cool. I knew the language, but never what the hell they were talking about. Unlike Yuri, who had light skin, Angel's skin was darker, more sympathetically Hispanic. He was short and heavy-set, wore glasses, had a crew cut. I'd look at him and feel comfort. Merengue, bachata, arroz con leche, habichuelas con dulce. They made me feel more Dominican. Thank you.
That was awesome. Another round of applause for James. Thank you, James. So now we're gonna go into the short, the intro. There's the dance. We're gonna skip that, so we're gonna go into the short intro. After having his dream, he went to the park. Now he's there alone, thinking of what to do next. Either to follow the fantasy or the reality of his American dream. And then two of his friends came. The reality and then the fantasy. He narrates his dream to his two friends. And then the reality told him the right thing to do. Go to college, get his degree. Why the fantasy tells him to make fast money, that he can make the American dream. Now he's thinking, left alone. Well, his friends did their part. Now it's left for him to make the choice. And they depart. What will he do? Will he follow his dream? The reality or the fantasy? Thank you. That is the intro. Yeah, we're supposed to have pictures actually, but no pictures. We improvise. So we're going to be going to the actual play now, the two sides of a coin, and then we'll set the stage. Thank you. recommend complete silence in my court. Mr. Dyer, you have been found guilty of a second-degree felony. You are hereby sentenced to 15 years in prison with no chance to parole.
Congratulations, Ms. Dyer. You have been approved for a 15-year contract as overrated mine. The salary starts at $130,000 with benefits, and there's room to extend as needed.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith.
The American dream. What is it? Many people go to the extreme of thinking the American dream is a country full of money and a luxurious life. Well, let me tell you through the story of Daya and Daya what the American dream could be like. They were two people from different cultures and different backgrounds, but they had the same American dream. They lived it in different ways. Dio just came from the embassy with his American visa, and boy is he happy.
Oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe it. Guys, I just got my visa. You know what this means? I'm going to America. This is a dream come true. I'm gonna get a job there. I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna buy my own house, a nice car. I'm gonna meet a beautiful woman, have beautiful children with her. This is, like I'm going to America. The land of money, freedom, and beautiful ladies. I'm going to America. Great.
Well, and Daya? Well, Daya, she got a phone call from her uncle saying she won the American visa lottery.
Yes, I made it. I finally can get out of this poverty and will make a better living for myself. I can even send for my parents, my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters. Oh my God, even my aunts, my tia, my auntie, my aunt May. Oh my God, even my uncles. Oh, let me call my mom and tell her.
Jeez, America. After 2 years of being in America, Dio and Daya met while asking strangers for a swipe to get on the train station. Since then, they became good friends. What a coincidence. I mean, things didn't go to plan. I mean, obviously, Daya doesn't have a car yet. And Daya, well, her living conditions aren't any better. But look at them. At least they know each other, right? afternoon, gentlemen. How can I help you? What would you like? Sorry?
My coffee black, please.
Ooh, coffee black, no sugar? Oh, too bad. What about you? Same? Awesome. Well, good thing I have a coffee mug right here. That's convenient. Here you go. Dio, you like it? And Dia are in a coffee shop. And Dio, he doesn't seem very happy about his present situation.
We've been here for like 2 years now, and nothing has got better from that. I barely have money. I barely have clothes to clothe myself. Don't you ever just feel like some things need to change?
I know how you feel. I've never thought that things could be that hard. But, we can go to college and we can get a degree. Maybe we can find better jobs. What do you think?
College? Are you serious? That is a waste of time. And besides, how are we gonna get money?
Well, we can start with the little we have and scholarships. We can apply for scholarships.
No, and no. I don't, no. I'm not cut out for this school thing, all right? Nowhere near cut out for it and will never be. Can we please just talk about something else?
Do you think it reasonable for Dia to want to go to college and get a college degree? Dial certainly doesn't think so. He believes that there are other ways that he can make money, so he finds fast and dubious ways to do so. Fortunately, his new friend Zach, well, he introduced him to selling drugs and weapons.
No losing, no nothing. It's gonna go good. Of course, man. I got something. All right. You just gotta remember it's 50-50, all right? We cannot lose this. All right?
Well, while Dio pursues his dreams, Dia enrolled in college. In fact, she got a bachelor's degree in software programming. She knows and realizes how important it is to work hard for your dreams. Ooh. Heavy stuff. Finals are here. Dia, she's studying. Hmm? Are you? Hope you are, seriously. Seriously. If only Dio knew the difference between dreams and reality, he would have graduated by now. If he listened to Dia, he would have had that car, that house, everything. If only, if only. But that, Dio, but that did not happen. Congratulations, guys.
Miss Daya, that was a good presentation. Those programs you designed were remarkable, and I think the board really likes you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith.
I'll call you when the board makes a decision, but I really think you have your future here.
I think I do too.
Thank you. Very good music, by the way. Daya, we know the story on Daya. She got that contract. And she's so excited. She knew exactly what to do. She worked hard and diligently, and she got it. So, obviously, she had to call her mom and tell her all about it.
Mom, I got it. Yeah, I booked your ticket. You can come here.
So guys, you've come here a long way, but what is the moral of the story? Well, Daya, she earned it. She worked really hard to pursue her dreams, and she achieved them. The lesson for you here is that it's okay to have dreams. It's okay to dream about great things, but you must set realistic goals in order to achieve them. And Daya did. The most important thing for us is that this American dream that we have in front of us, we can all do it if we work hard. Thank you.
The show is over.